Hey, it's Hippopotomatic, and I'm Seth Hipp, and welcome to another great week of the Hippopotomatic Sketch Club. We're so glad you're here. Join us if you haven't yet, and we'll draw together. It'll be a lot of fun. But I also have another treat for you, another great interview. This one is with Mel Milton. He's a fantastic guy, and he is an amazing artist. It was so fun to talk to him. What a great personality and some really deep insights. Really had a great time. But before we get into that, let's look at last week's drawings from the prompt Reindeer Replacement brought to us by OK Mate. So let's see what everyone thought would be a good replacement for Santa's reindeer should they go on strike or get sick or somehow are incapacitated. One of my personal favorites was Erickson Bro Studios when he gave his literal interpretation of the reindeer's names, like Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen. Great, but they're all fantastic entries. Now let's see who wins in the drawing, and remember that the first winner also gets to choose the prompt for next time. So just let me know by Wednesday night.
Good, you got it.
Hey, guess what, everybody? It's time for another drawing. I'm so excited. Let's see who wins.
All right, I got the stocking out. Just so you know, I'm sad because there's someone that is left out and we don't know who you are. So it said there was a certain number of people that posted for this prompt, and then when I looked it up, there was one less than that. And I looked it up I signed into different accounts. I even called a friend. So I think it means it was a private account. So if your account is set to private, just add Hippopotomatic and we'll add you back, and then we'll be able to see your art, because that's so sad to have someone missing.
Yeah, it's nothing personal. It's just Instagram screwiness.
Right. And you could even tag us you could tag Hippopotomatic.
Or send it to us in a message.
There's so many ideas.
Cool. All right, let's do the drawing.
High five. Okay. All right, this is who will choose the prompts next time. Wait, are we taking a break after this next week?
Yeah, well, we'll still do next week, but the week after is the week of Christmas. We'll skip that week, but we'll be back in the new year.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, mate, Mitch.
All right, Mitch. You're on the hook. You gotta come up with something great. Maybe something about the new year, or maybe something about bowel movements.
Whatever it is.
Or narwhals.
Better be great.
Narwhals and bowel movements. Just kidding.
Narwhalic bowel movements. Good thing you're not picking again.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's see. I feel good about this one.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Horst Roberts.
Yay!
Good job. Did she win last week?
No.
Hey.
But I liked her balloons carrying.
Yeah, that was cute.
Santa's sleigh.
And she was saying he just needed a high-powered fan.
Yeah.
He just is floating around.
Erickson Bro Studio 1.
Good job.
Is that the dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. At first I was doing Erickson Bro Studio, and then the 1, 2, 3 was however many kids. But I just thought that was confusing, so just the very first. So good job.
Yay.
All right. And this next week I made a video for what the next prompt will be.
Yep.
So.
Let's look at that right now.
Okay. Oop. Hi everyone, it's Carolyn, Seth's wife. I'm so excited to be able to pick the theme this week. There's a project I've been trying to finish for a few years. Well, trying to begin, actually, for a few years, and I haven't had the gumption to get it off the ground. So I wanted to pick the theme so that I'd finish it, and you're all getting wrangled into it, so hopefully you enjoy it too. It's based off of the poem, the famous Christmas poem, The Night Before Christmas. I don't know if you've ever seen this book before. It is one of my absolute favorites from my childhood, and I've been searching for years for it, and then my sister found it online and sent it to me. So anyway, what I thought we could do is each take a different line from the poem and illustrate that, and then next week we could put them all lined up and read the book, and we'll read the poem and have our drawings there. So, or our creations, whatever we want to make. So, the kids will be out of school this next week. Maybe make it a family thing. Get them involved too. Just so we'll know what each other are picking. I'm gonna make a Google Doc that will have the lines of the poem in it, and go ahead and just click on the link that will be in the comments of this video, and sign up for whichever line you want. If there's a line that you just really, really love and someone else has signed up for it, go ahead and do it too. Like, I thought it would be fun to spread out the art. I think that would be neat to make a video of that, but it's mostly about just having fun. So do your favorite. I'm gonna go ahead and take the first line of "'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse." I'm gonna change it though to say "not a creature was stirring except for a mouse," just for the idea of the thing I'm creating. So anyway, first come, first serve, right? So just jump in and sign up for a line and get started on your art and have fun with your family. And I think it could be really a beautiful thing when we finish it. I know, I'm a dork. Okay, bye.
Awesome idea, lots of fun. So do whatever you want to do from the poem, but if you want to coordinate and claim a line or two from the poem, just go to the link in the description of this video. Great, now let's talk to Mel. Mel is an awesome friend of mine. I've known him for years, and he has taken this to the next level, and he has just kept getting better and better and better as the years go by. I think it has something to do with how much he draws. Maybe. But anyway, let's have a chat with him and take a look inside that noggin of his and see what's going on and get some inspiration.
What's up, dude?
Hey! How are ya?
How goes the battle?
Oh, it's Friday. It's Friday.
Right? Well, working from home, that has lost all meaning for me.
It often does for me too, but today it means something. So, question number 1: when did you first decide that you were an artist? Did that ever happen?
Did I decide to I wanted to do art? Like it was my thing?
Yeah.
So I think if we go back to, I think it was preschool. I had to do a little test, and I remember they asked me to draw a person, and I drew a person with I put a hat, shoes, gloves, a jacket, and they were expecting me to draw a stick man, and they're like, "Well, why did you think of that?" And I was like, "Well, it's got clothes." I'm like, "That's what I do." And I remember the reaction I got from it was like, "Hey, there's this thing that you're really special at." And so it's always sat with me, that one moment. I still remember it was one of those, wow, maybe, especially as a kid, because every kid wants to do art, right? It's like, oh, I want to draw, I want to color, I want to do all that stuff. But at that moment, when an adult who wasn't related to me saw something specific, it was the trigger moment where it was like, I'm going to do it all the time.
Nice. Yeah. Was there a point where you said, "This is my career. This is how I'm going to make money"?
That one's a little trickier. Well, I know the moment. It's when I met my wife. So when I met my wife, I was doing web design. I was a web designer, and I remember I hated that job. And I met my wife, and while we were dating, I was like, I don't want to get married and have some crappy job. And I was like, I told her, I was like, I want to be an artist. I don't know what it means, but I'm going to figure it out. And I was about 30 years old. So I was about 30 when I decided. I said I wanted to be a professional artist. I want to be somebody who gets paid for it, even though I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. 30. So is it better than web design? I have to ask.
It has its moments, so it's how do you go to some, when I first got in, I remember seeing all the artists and talking with them and them having the look of this is just a job. Do you know what I'm saying? And I was still, because I was so late to the game, I'd already given up for so many years that it was like, I don't ever see myself falling into that. Like, I don't ever see it looking as like a job. And then it ended up becoming a job, like a chore. But I think it's your perspective on it, right? So I think like the dreamer in me lasted quite a long time. Then eventually it was, you know, you have a family and you're like, you know, what does this art thing mean? And I'm going into work, and it became the grind more so. Even though it was like, my mind was fighting the idea that here's this thing that I enjoy, but it's work. And, you know, why is it that I don't have those same rosy colored glasses? So I met some really great people at web design. And, you know, like my first boss was like, you're a great designer. I don't know why you draw. You're not good at it. You know, like that was his thing, you know, and I get what he was saying, because he was like, your skill set is design. But at that moment, web design was more the thing that I didn't like, because it was like, I felt like that's as close as I'm ever going to get to art is web design. And so it was like the initial changeover. I was mad about being a web designer, because I was like, I could have been doing this my whole life. And I did this web design, but the further I got in, I actually have a love for my web design background, because it was like, there's things that it taught me how to think when going into other things. So it took years to be able to take that stuff that I hated and go, oh, it was important for me to do it, if that makes any sense.
Sure, yeah, that sounds like college. My college, yeah. Like, why am I doing this at the time? But then looking back, I'm like, well, it was probably good. Yeah. Okay. Next question. What is your medium of choice?
If like you just said, okay, Mel, this is where you need to be, like, I would just be pencil and paper. Like, if I could just do that, like, to me, that's where it took me a long time to leave that realm. You know, and so like digital, you know, like when I was growing up, and it was like when computers start becoming a thing, a lot of people were like, oh, if you use computers, you're not a real artist. So I was, you know, and then on top of that, it was like, if you use reference, you know, you're not a real artist. So there was things that I had heard early on that hindered my thing, but because I had a web design background, that computers felt natural for me. So I was just kind of like, oh, well, when I was at work, I'd be on the computer and I'd be like, well, when I get a little bit of time, I'll take Photoshop and Flash. Even though that's what I used for work, I would be like, well, let me draw on them. So that was my entry into it. But like, if I were to choose which one, like, I get the most joy out of pencil and paper.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah. So, but we should probably back up and tell the people the kind of work you do. So,
that's what I'm saying. I still haven't figured it out yet. You know? As of the last couple of years, it's been mainly character design, and I do comic book covers. I've done. I just rolled off of Marvel. I haven't even told anybody yet. I just rolled off of Marvel, so I just finished my first character design for TV animation. So that was really one of the most awesome experiences. You know, the dreamer kind of gig.
Sure.
So, but outside of that, I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place. So like I said, that's why I don't like introducing. Like doing the like, where have you worked? Like we met at Disney Interactive, right?
Right.
But like I don't like, most people don't even remember that I was an animator. You know, I was like, that's what I always thought I'd be, and drawing just became the thing. So if I were to say, if somebody were, I would just say I'm a professional hobbyist.
That is awesome. Yeah. All right, next question. Give me a day-to-day, like a typical start to finish for a project or an assignment, like how do you interact with the people you're working with, and how do you get from A to B?
Oh, so the freelance gigs are usually like, let's see, how does it start off? They'll give me a brief. I'll have a Zoom meeting, and they'll kind of go over like what it is that they want as a client, and then they'll tell me, well, the reason why we're coming to you is because you have a strength in this, so we would like to utilize it for this. They show me samples. I kind of let it mull it over. They'll give me a deadline, and if it's something that's like I got a quick turnaround, I usually say no. I'm blessed that I've gotten to a point to where it's like I have enough work that I don't have to take something that's crazy. So and then usually I'll go, it has to be something that I'll enjoy, because before, again, when I first got my foot in the door, you just take whatever jobs. Whereas now it's like, look, I want an experience more so than, like that's more important to me than the actual paycheck, right? Like if I can't find that happiness, if I can't find that balance with my family, then I'm not going to even take the job. So once we go over that, if all that, falls into place, then I'll spend a day thumbnailing stuff out, coming up with color palettes, kind of working all my ideas out. Then usually they'll have a meeting point. They'll say, we want sketches by this date, and then we want a clean up at this date, and then we'll want final polish, and then any revisions after that if they didn't catch. The Marvel gig was just a steady, like, they would give me, here's your characters, this is where they are in the story, these are things that you can we want you to implement, and then you just crank them out, show them. They'd meet at the end, we'd meet usually at the end of the week, closer to the end of the week, before Friday, because then they would pitch that to the higher ups. And so then you would get your notes, and that's what you would work on the next one.
Okay, cool. Next question. If time and money were not dictating your schedule, what kind of art would you be doing right now?
That's easy. I'm doing just that.
Whoa.
Well, that's why I said I'm at a stage now where, again, it's not really the money. I mean, you're gonna pay me, right? But it's more like I said, I want to go to my daughter and be like, look what I'm working on, like, because like she's that next generation, like she wants to be a character designer, but she's like total different realm. So to me, I'm like always, always doing my own thing on top of that. But for work, I always try to take on jobs that are just like, it has to be in my realm. Like I want to be I want to do it like I were going to do it for myself anyways. And so when I usually meet with clients, or like when Marvel reached out and says, hey, do you want to work on this project? I was like, I don't do character designs. But when they told me what it was, and I was like, I'm all like, this is what I do. So I'm like, how do you turn that down? So every job that I've kind of gotten from that point, like I want that, but it also, that's such a big, like when I went off on my own, I had all these big ideas of what I wanted to do, big projects, and I just shut down. Right. I was like, there's too much. But when it's just a day-to-day, like, am I doing something that I enjoy? Doesn't matter what it is. Like, I'm happy where I'm at, rather than looking, because we start our art journey and we're like, I can't wait till I'm at the studio, or I can't wait till I'm working on that project. But like, to me, I'm like, I missed enjoying being on that path. Like, I got to a place where it's like, I should be enjoying it, I'm not enjoying it properly. And so now I've changed the way I perceive how I do art. Like, my daughter has given me that. I didn't want to turn into an old curmudgeon dude, and my daughter's pulled me out. So it's like, now I go, if I could do whatever it is that I want, that's what I'm going to do today, if that makes sense. And so it's like, work is work is always going to be work, but how do I perceive it? And so it's always got to be something fun. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes any kind of sense.
No, it's awesome. It's inspiring. So
again, it's one of those. If you think like if I had to go back to my past self and say all the things that I've done just in the last couple of years, I wouldn't have like when we'd met, you know, and I was just like wet behind the ears animator and stuff. Like I thought that's where I was gonna go. Like drawing and art has always just been for fun. So then all of a sudden it gets to a point where it's like, hey, you're really good at that. Hey, we'll pay you to do that. Oh, like you would pay me for this? I'm like, I'm still not where I want to be, right? And so now it's if I take a job, can that job one add value to me, and two, you know, can I bring value to it? If that makes sense. So like it's a win-win situation if I'm in that mode. Whereas if it's, you know, if it's just work and like I've turned down a lot of jobs where it's just like, hey, we'll throw a bunch of money at you and I'll go, but I can see myself being miserable. Right, and I can see that's what my family sees and it's not worth it. So to me, I'm like, you know, I just want a smile on my face. And so I spent all that time hustling and I feel like my family got to suffer through all that. And it's like, I wish I could give them more now. And so I know the most that I can give him out is like, oh, look how happy he is. I'm not so worried about him. Right. You know, like that's unhealthy. Like, I don't know if you've ever hit that spot where you're just I'm completely unhealthy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And so like my wife would worry. I could see my daughter would be stressed out about it. And it was like, I need to do something that's, you know, I don't want them to worry. So then my worry would go on to them. And it's like, I realized I'm part of that, like that catalyst of that worry. So it's like, if I'm like, hey, I got another job that's totally fun. You know what I'm saying? It's like, then I see them not worry. And then it's like, oh, well, I have a little bit of sunshine in my day too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. So
that's why I go, I'm blessed to do the things that I'm doing now, even though I haven't done
Au contraire. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome answer. Okay, last question. Well, I try to keep it to 5 questions, so I kind of sneak in additional questions within the question. So this is question number 5, but it's actually 2 questions. What of your work are you most proud of so far? And or what do you want to accomplish before you die?
And that's where I'm hitting right now, like as I'm getting older, you know. So first off, what am I my most proud moment? Like I would have to go back to the day I decided to be a professional artist. Like that to me was the moment. Like I go back at anything else, I could have not made that decision. Right? Like, you know, like before I was an artist, I was always talking to my friend, oh, I want to do this, and one day I'll get to it. Right? But then when I made that day, like when I met my wife and it was like I want to give her the world, right? Like I don't even care. I was just like, but if I'm this artist, you know, I mean, I'll be able to give her not just that grumpy dude coming home from work. I don't like my job and this and that. I was like, if I can figure that out, then that's my gift to her. And that was the start. Like there's been many times where I've wanted to give up. So that guy, when he said, I want to be a professional artist, that's what I want to do, you know? And as to what I'd like to do before I fall off the face of this earth, I think every artist wants to do their own project. Do you know what I'm saying? Like whatever that is, I still haven't figured it out. Like like right now, like I didn't like when Marvel reached out and said, do you want to be a character designer? I'd never thought about it. Like, but all the stuff that I did with the animation and then going into character design opened up a different way of thinking, right? So it was like I was taking the animation stuff and I was like, so now I'm excited just to be like, well, let me try that. Let me try a little bit of this. Let me try a little bit of this. And then kind of see what kind of project comes out of it. Because I know it's leading me to something. I just can't figure out what. You know what I'm like? Again, when I was like, I just want to be a character animator. Or I just want to just make enough money to take care of my family. Well, it's evolved over time. So it's not like I'm the same guy, but the way I react to what I do is different, right? Like I'm more laid back. I'm okay with, like enjoy the ride. Don't get caught up in trying to set a goal. So I don't like thinking about, because there was a part where it's like, I want this before I fall off the face of the earth. I want this. Like I won't be happy until this. And I'm like, I just want to go as big as I can before I fall off. I don't know where that is. I don't know what that means. But it's always like something opens up for the next thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it was like when I rolled off of Marvel, I was like, oh, there was depression, but I know I have other things that I need to do. And there's going to be the thing that I do. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'll just be excited. Like, woohoo! I'll just keep moving until, right? Like, I haven't figured that out. But I know at some point, it's just like, I want to do my own thing.
Sweet.
Who knows what
That's amazing. I feel the same way. Like I'm moving towards something, but I don't know what it is, but I know it's going to be awesome.
How do you put it? How do you, because again, as artists, as creatives, we go, I just want to be better, right? Yeah. But it's such an unknown already. When you say better, there's no definition of what makes you better. What is the thing that's like going to make you better? And so I looked and I go, I hate everything that I do. Right? I try to explain to people, I'm going, like some people at the beginning of their art journey, they'll look at me like, oh man, I want to do what you do. I want to be where you're at. And you go, you're missing the whole point. You need to be where you're at, enjoy where you're at. Because when you go back and reflect, you're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about the hardships. You're going to talk about all the things that you overcame to make it special. Right. Instead of like, I'm in a rush. I got to hurry. I want to get my career started. It's like, that's the magical time when you're hungry and you're like, you haven't been broken yet. You haven't had your hardships yet. You're all like, why am I doing this? It doesn't end. It just evolves. So.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we're just figuring this stuff out together. We have no idea what we're doing, but.
Right. But it's neat to see. Like, I go back. Remember when I had my little Mel Meets, right? Where, like I said, I'd go meet artists and just see what they were like, because I never imagined myself having access to artists. And so I go back and watch, like, see all the people in those Mel Meets and see where they've gone, and you go like, wow, oh, they're over here. And oh, wow, they're doing this. And hey, so it's like, it's more than just being an artist, like I tell people when they're at the beginning of it, you're so worried about the job. When you don't, it's such a community. It's like a family of things, and it's all this insecurity and all the, hey, we've had these troubles and hey, there's this hardship, but there, like when you get into that, when you get into the level of more than a job, then then like I said, to get me to come do this, it was you. Like, I'm like, oh, damn it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm sad about how much time has passed, but I'm also like, it makes where I'm at just much more exciting to appreciate it now. Like, okay, start really appreciating where you're at. So I appreciate you bringing me on to this, because I didn't think about it until these moments. Just like, I'm gonna art today. And all this sucks and it's terrible. I hate it. horrible. Why did I get into this job?
Yeah. I was there just today, so I'm glad. You know, this is good. This is good for me to step back and look at the big picture more like we've been doing. So it's been awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Because again, I go, these are to me, these are the best. Just to, like, if I could listen in on just artists talking, like artists, like regular artists, like not the beginning. Like I would tell, like when I was teaching, I would tell my students, if you ever want to really gain some really good knowledge, just listen to two creatives talk regular. Not like, hey, let me tell you about how my job is and this and that, but just let them listen to how they are when they're together.
Yeah.
It's really special. You know, it's really, because it's like there's a connection there that's more than the work. But a lot of people miss that, and they don't focus on that, and it's like, you know, when you get overwhelmed, that's that connection. You go to another artist, and I go, I know Seth has been through it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you went through that stuff, and so it's making those connections early on and saying, hey, remember when we went through that crap?
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you when I have that hard time, and I'm like, why did I do this, Seth?
Yeah. And I guess that's like a downside to working remote, even though working remote is way, way better in so many ways. But yeah, you have to do this and seek out those connections, because they don't just happen at lunchtime kind of thing. But
Nope. That's why I said I'm glad that you got me on here. Because again, I'm like, anytime a Zoom meeting, or like everybody does a different kind of Zoom, Google Hangouts, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sick of meetings. But I do enjoy, like, when there's the meetings, just artists just bull crapping, like, you know. So sometimes I'll just reach out to an artist and be like, hey, can we just sit and talk? And, you know, like, are you struggling? Like, let me hear. How's the fam? You know?
yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, I just want to talk to you.
Well, I sure appreciate it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Remember to have your post on Instagram by Wednesday night with the hashtag HippoSketch16. Now, if you want to see a video about the poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," click here. And if you want to see more Sketch Club videos, right there. On your mark, get set, draw.